We think we've stayed in budget, fingers crossed.
Hey everyone, and welcome to our channel. We are Hannah and Jonny, two travellers on an endless adventure. In 2017, we started finding our adventure to travel full time. Since then, we've lived in a camper van with our cats, learnt to surf, and even moved to Cornwall. Hit the subscribe button to join us each week for a new episode of Finding Our Adventure, as we search for adventures big and small.
Welcome to part 2 of our Bali series, and today we thought it'd be really interesting to show you how far your money will go here in Bali. So we thought we'll set ourselves a budget of £30 for 2 people, and we're going to show you guys how much you can get here in Bali for £30. So one of the main things when you come to Bali is accommodation. Obviously you need somewhere to stay, and we are actually staying in a homestay, which is relatively cheaper than staying in a hotel or a fancy villa. So this homestay is where we're staying, is called Dana's Homestay, and it costs £11 a night. So we're staying here for 5 nights. We've been staying here for the last few nights and it's been amazing. So we'll show you what £11 a night in Bali can get you. So at this particular homestay, there's actually 5 rooms in total. And before you come into the room, there's like a nice little outdoor space where you can come and chill. And we've also got like a little terrace. We've got some chairs and also somewhere to hang our towels. And then inside, it's kind of like a small apartment really, or a small room. So we have our bed over here, and then we've got a mini fridge, which is great, so you can put some nice cold water in there. We've also got some fruit. We've even got a TV which has got like Netflix and Disney, YouTube, so all your entertainment, which is fantastic. We've also got a wardrobe here which we can lock so we can keep any valuables that we don't want to bring with us when we go out. So that's really handy, and there's some hanging space in there as well. We've got a side table as well, and another chair, and plenty of plugs. And then through to the kitchenette, we've got a sink, kettle, and like a small cooker as well. So if we really want to save money, we can cook our own meals. And then opposite the kitchen, we have got our bathroom, which is very basic, and the pressure is sometimes on and off, but in Bali, you just want a nice cold shower and feeling nice and clean, which is what this bathroom does, which is great. And just out here, we've also got another space. We've got a nice little private garden. So the things that you sacrifice for staying in a slightly cheaper accommodation is being a little bit further away from things. So we're actually staying east of Uluwatu, which is one of the main areas where a lot of people stay, and it's kind of up and coming at the moment. So we're about 30 minutes from kind of Bingin Beach and Uluwatu area. But this accommodation itself is actually really well priced for what you get, because I don't think I mentioned it also has aircon, which is a real plus, because a lot of the places when we came to stay in Bali back in 2017 were a lot more basic than this. Last week we stayed in a place that cost £30 a night, so that's almost triple the cost of where we're staying at the moment. But on top of what we get here, we also got a pool, and also the location is fantastic because it was right above Bingin Beach, so we can literally just walk to the beach, which is fantastic. Whereas here, you rely a lot more on having to get transport, so either a motorbike or you can get a Grab, which is basically like a taxi.
So this is the bike we've been using for the last few days, and for a scooter here in Bali, we've been paying anywhere between £3 and £4 a day, which is pretty reasonable because we've been able to have the freedom to go anywhere. And the other options are, if you're not comfortable hiring a bike, are to get, as Hannah mentioned, a Grab. So you can get a Grab taxi, which is a car, or a Grab scooter. And the scooter's one way to where we're going to go to breakfast this morning, I just checked, was less than £1, so it's really affordable. But obviously for me and Hannah, we'd have to get 2, so that'd be about £2 one way. So that could quickly add up if you're using those, but it's still the most affordable option you have if you're not comfortable riding a scooter. Or you could get the Grab car, but one way for the Grab car this morning I've checked is about the same price as hiring this scooter for the entire day. It does change at different times during the day, the prices do vary. So we got a car when we first got here, and it was more expensive than getting the car back here later that day. So it really does change up depending on the car you get. But there are lots of affordable ways, but by far the cheapest option and the most freeing option is to get your own scooter if you're comfortable riding one. And that also means that you need to get an international driving license, which for us to get the digital copy for Indonesia was about £30. So do your research before you come to Bali to make sure you've got all the correct driving licenses. And if you do get stopped by the police, then you'll be okay.
So if you are hiring a scooter, make sure that you get a helmet with the bike, and also make sure that it actually clips properly, because the ones we had when we first arrived, they weren't very good. So these ones are good and safe. And another thing to make sure is just to check your bike over to make sure that it's safe. Also having a guard over the heat exhaust, is that the exhaust? Is really important. Otherwise, make sure that obviously you've got your legs covered if you are a passenger in the back. And yeah.
Checking the lights.
Oh yeah, and also check that the lights work, especially if you're going to drive at night time. Wouldn't recommend it. It's obviously a little bit more, the roads in Bali sometimes aren't always lit up, so it's a little bit more difficult to see potholes and things like that. But today we're just going to be driving the day, and we're going to go get some breakfast. We have arrived at where we're going to be having breakfast / brunch, and where we stayed last week had breakfast included, but where we're staying at the moment doesn't have breakfast included. So it depends what you want. We quite like having the flexibility of choosing where we want to have breakfast, and we know that this place does really good food, so that's why we've decided to come here. Our food has just arrived at Tara Bell, and we've come here specifically for the smoothie bowls because we absolutely love them and they're so refreshing. And we've gone specifically for the tropical one, and both of our smoothie bowls come to a total of £5.20.
After breakfast, we have just driven down to Nunggalan Beach, and we had to pay for parking for the bike, which cost 24 pence, which was 5,000 rupiah. And now we're just going to walk down and go find a beach.
As the place that we're staying in doesn't have a pool, we are coming to a beach, obviously, to try and cool down, as it's quite warm here in Bali. I think it's 30 or something degrees Celsius, so yeah, I have the constant sweats here and I'm really looking forward to cooling down. This beach is free to go on, but it's a bit of a trek, so I think it's like 10-15 minute walk down. We're quite high up at the moment and the beach is all the way down there, so I think we've got to walk through a bit of forest, but I'm sure it'll be worth it.
The view from the beach down below is absolutely incredible, and we can't wait to get down all of these steps and get in that water. This beach is pretty cool because we've only had to pay for parking for the scooter. A lot of the beaches now you actually have to pay to go on as well. They're not very expensive, so it won't affect your budget too much, but just be aware that when turning up to have cash on you, because obviously there's no credit card facilities at the beach, and there'll just be a guy either asking for parking, or there sometimes is a gate and an admission fee to the beach as well. Whilst we are scrambling down to this beach, it's also important to remember that the beaches that are paid for are generally maintained, so they are going to be more litter free than some of the beaches that aren't paid. But the view from up here, this beach looks pretty clean so far, so we're excited to get down. Another important point to remember is the tide times. Some of the beaches around here will be cut off by high tide, so it's always important to check when high and low tide are. And also they can be very different at low and high tide. So for example, at low tide, a lot of the reefs around here are exposed, and the water goes out a long way to where the reef stops or starts, I guess, and there's the big waves crashing in, and so it's a lot calmer to then paddle in the more shallow, gentler water. But the tide at the moment is kind of like, I think, a mid-tide at the moment, so we're excited to get down and have a little bit of a swim. Hannah just made another important point that a lot of these beaches as well won't have facilities on. There is a few warungs on some of the beaches and stuff like that, so obviously they'll probably have toilets in those. But this sort of beach won't have any toilets on, and there isn't any warungs on it. But as you're coming down, you will see some vendors like selling bracelets and stuff, and they're also selling soft drinks and water. So if you are running out of water or do need an extra drink, then you can always go up with them, and that does support them and helps their families. We just came to a fork in the road there, and there was two signs, one saying the beach was left and one saying the beach was right. They were both, looks like they were warung signs, so there may be warungs down the beach. But there was a group of guys behind us and we were like, which way do we go? And they were like, they don't know either. So I said to them, you go right, we'll go left, and whoever gets to the beach first wins.
Like a tropical bird or some sort. It's got blue wings. Sorry. My legs are really shaky from coming down that path. It was quite the adventure. Didn't see any monkeys, saw lots of beautiful butterflies though. But yeah, my legs are really shaking this morning because I've been trying to do a workout every day. Luckily I'm doing it inside, because doing running outside I would be sweating loads, but I sweat anyway inside. But yeah, now I am really looking forward to getting in the ocean and cooling down. This beach is paradise, and it's so big that you can really like get away from people, so it feels a lot quieter than some of the smaller beaches and you get less hassled. But what's really cool as well about this beach is that it's got more like local warungs and bars, so that they all seem to be like locally run, and they sell like drinks and maybe some snacks, and they also have sunbeds with umbrellas if you want some shade. And Johnny just asked how much, and I think it was 100,000 rupiah each for a sunbed. So that's about £5 each, so it'd be like £10 for us. So that would go over our budget. But there is that option if you have got more budget in your day. It's very tempting, but we've just got our towels and we're just sunbathing, and then when we get hot, we'll go in the water. As it's so hot, we have decided to treat ourselves to some drinks. So Johnny has got a Coke, I think, and I went with a coconut, which is really heavy, and total price for a coconut and a Coke was 50,000 rupiah, which is about £2.50, I think, yeah. So add that to the total. So we've had a really lovely day on the beach, and we just popped back to the place that we're staying for a nice shower and rinse off all the sun cream and the sand, and we've just come to a really nice spot where you can watch the sunset, and we've come here for dinner because we have got some budget left, so we can have some dinner. And one way that you can go even more budget, which we did do when we were traveling Southeast Asia, is just buying like cheap pot noodles and they're like 30p, 20p, something like that. So if you really want to go budget and you want extra money left over, then you could do that. But tonight we've come to a warung where they serve traditional Balinese food, and we're probably going to go for the classic staples, which is either mee goreng or nasi goreng, which is basically like fried noodles or egg fried rice, I think, or fried rice with like veg and that sort of thing. So I think that's what we're going to go for. Our dinner has arrived, and we decided to go for mee goreng and nasi goreng, and each dish cost 50,000 Indian rupiah, which is the equivalent of about £2.40. So that meal was absolutely delicious and a great way to end the day. So on the screen now is going to be our total for the day. We think we've stayed in budget, fingers crossed. We have been adding up as we've been going along, hoping that we'll stay to the £30 budget. So hopefully we've stuck to it, and obviously you can be a lot cheaper with your money if you want to stay in even cheaper accommodation. And also I think the drinks on the beach that we got earlier topped us a little bit over maybe what we would usually spend. Normally we'd maybe go to the supermarket and get drinks for ourselves or just have a bottle of water with us. So that's another way you can do it cheaper. Obviously you can go the other spectrum and spend even more money and have maybe a private villa or stay in a hotel, and also spend more money eating out, because we've only had 2 meals today, so we had like a brunch and a dinner. Other people might want to eat more food, whereas we're quite happy with 2 meals a day, and we normally don't eat as much food. So I hope you found this useful. And also for internet, if you're interested, we have got a discount code for Holofly where we use their eSIM whilst we travel, and we found them really easy to use and pretty affordable too. So let's have a look in the description below and you can check them out. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it for this video. So let us know in the comments what you thought about this video, whether you found it useful, whether there's anything else you want to know about Bali, and we'll be writing travel guides all about our time spent here on the island. And yeah, subscribe for future videos and we'll see you in the next one.